Hello, hello, hello. Voices in my head. Hello, YouTube. Um, another video. We are here. Another video. Today we're gonna. Well, I'm gonna talk about my current reading. A book that I'm reading right now, per se. It is a classic. It is a book that is about a dystopian future, but it makes a lot of sense with the future that we are currently living on. So that's funny. And it's been I mean, I'm 100% influenced by Instagram reels about this book, but instead, that doesn't mind at all. The book that I'm talking right now, you might see it in the title of the video. It is George Orwell, 1984. Wait a second. Sorry about that. 1984. I have this Penguin Classics edition. This is the annotated edition. It's just it has nothing special, not a hardcover book, nothing like that. It's just an annotated version because this is my first reading of this book. I like having an annotated version of the books that I read. I don't know. I just like reading like that extra um, things that explain the people that do the annotation. But where this is a English classic. This is the first English book that I show this channel because the previous ones were in Spanish. This is full in English. This is a English version. So if you speak English, there you have this. This is a 1984 English Penguin Classic English edition. I'm gonna be talking about the part one, so be aware of spoilers and things like that. It's just I'm not going into heavy details or anything like that. Just me talking about the first part of the book. For this, well, I started doing like annotations in a notebook, not in the book. I don't like to write down in the book. I started doing annotations in a notebook to basically stop talking nonsense in the videos because I kind of enjoy what I'm doing here. So I'm gonna put a little bit more of effort in what I'm talking about, and that's where I started to taking notes on my readings because you cannot trust your mind all of the time. So yeah, this book, 1994. We are in basically. We're in the eyes of Winston. Let's say that Winston is we can call it main character at the moment in the first part. That's the main character basically, and the first part of the book is basically explaining us how is this future, how the laws work, how the government is structured, how the impact that the government has on the people, and also we have our first introduction to BB, double B, Big Brother. Big Brother is basically always watching you. That's like how the narrator make us feel. Like Big Brother is always watching you. Um, Throughout all the chapters in the first part, um, Winston talk about a lot of about the repression that is being imposed by the government, but in quite a natural way. What I say by that is that every single person that is under this regimen, they they don't feel like it is bad, and I'm gonna make emphasis on that later. But yeah, they don't. I mean, that's the life that they are living. They don't think that there is other like type of way of living or that they are being oppressed. They actually feel like that's the best version of a government that can be. also we get an introduction, as I said, to basically everything. That's the first part. Is basically introduction to everything. So we get in an introduction also to a telescreens, and there is telescreens are basically always watching you. What I get with every single time that Wisdom mentioned this is that the telescreens are always watching you. If you are in range of a telescreen, you are basically always inside of the government. And also, well, Winston what is it he works for the party for the basically a government employee. He works for the party. Um, what he does for work is like newspaper. I, I don't want to say titles, but he basically writes down the news. Let's say the newspaper like headlines. Um, so he gives off an introduction of how that works. Basically, how everything is filtered, changed to fit a narrative before it is released. And about this, I'm gonna be talking a little bit later. But I just making I just right now I just talking about like bit points of the things that I catch in this first part, and also well. In the first part, we get a little bit of background about Winston, about his family, his friends, if you can call it like that. Also, his love life, and this is quite weird. Well, about his family, I don't remember very well because I started making notes like in the last chapter about his family. Basically, what if I remember correctly, their family is dead. Basically, they died like in a drowning or something like that, and Winston is the only one living. About his friends being a basically a party employee, you have to be very careful with that. Winston make like an emphasis in that having communication with the others is seen bad. Uh, people start raising like suspicion about you, like you're gonna betray the party and all of that. So he doesn't have like really true connections with people around him. He have a neighbor that is like his co-worker, and he just helps like in a chapter he helps the his co-worker wife, and then in that point we get an introduction to the ideology that is imposed in the children from the beginning, because these kids all they want to do is like kill the spies and basically snitch on everyone that is against the government. So it's a really like weird kind of portraying like that adoctrination in kids. But yeah, that's like the first introduction that we get about how everything is imposed in such an early age. And also about Winston love life. He said that he was married, and here he gives in a chapter he gives a lot of explanation about how marriage works in this future. Basically, love life is not seen like is seen bad. The only reason that you are married is to bring children, but you don't have you're not allowed basically to have a emotional attachment to the person that you marry. So, and you are allowed to divorce if basically you cannot bring children to the world. And that's what happened with basically with Wisdom. And he expressed a lot of rage about this. Because also in this feature is like quite weird. It's weird, and it is hard to understand the age that the people really have, because they're so like in a bubble, like so out of touch with reality. You can say that way. That they don't even know what year it is, and also what age they are. So Winston, he says that he basically got really mad the moment that he had like a truly look on his ex-wife face, because it was basically an old lady, like a 50 plus year old lady. Yeah, he in that chapter expressed a lot of hate towards that, and also in previous chapters he also expressed a lot of hate towards women. It's like really weird. Um, well, also in part one we get an introduction to the Tau police, that is basically the one that is in charge to silence everyone. Um, Winston expressed a lot of afraid is the word. He's basically afraid of the two police. Um, well, there is a part that I really like, is basically how the past is changed to basically fit the narrative. How they basically change the path to being able to secure a future in where they have like this reason. Is that a word? Like this, they can basically rule over everything, changing out with the past. They contradict themselves a lot of times, changing the past um, to basically fit the narrative. Um, the way they do is like, well, as I said before, everything is overlooked by the government, and check, double check, triple check, quadruple check by the different ministers that there are in this regiment. Also, they basically kill every single person that have an understanding of how things was before. So by changing the narrative and basically killing every single person that can explain everything about the past, you're able to fit the narrative that you want to impose in the future, because there is no longer a past. You change the past to secure a future, and that's what they do in that's what they do in this future. Um, it's very fucked up in my opinion, because yeah, I started like thinking about that, and it is totally true. I mean, if you think about it, let's say like right now every single one of us get like men in black type of mind elite, and just one person remembers everything, and he started like changing the past. We're gonna believe him. Even more if there is no one to check those facts. So yeah, that's what thing that they do in this book. And also, well, Winston is a party worker. That's what I wanted to say before. Um, they're as a regiment, they are always in constant war with other people. I don't even know if that is true. If I've been honest, I haven't understand very well if that is even true, that they're always in war. Because I mean, to this point, this government can the government in this book, uh, this party can basically say that they are in war and fake that, and it's gonna be true. People are going to believe it. So I don't, I didn't catch that if that constant war it is true or it is not. It's just to fit the narrative or not. So yeah, that's another way of operation. They're always in constant war, so everything is war related. Um, this is another topic that I really like, the new speak and old speak. Um, well, basically, new speak is the language that the changes in language that they are doing um, to basically delete words that can give you that expression, that the liberty of free speech, and basically what they want to do is not make you say the less things possible, enable to you not be able. What the fuck did I say that? Well, basically, for you not to be able to express properly. That's what I catch about this. And old speak is basically the old way of speaking in the old words that were used, basically having expression, having a lot of vocabulary to express every single emotion, every single thing about it. They are trying to delete that. And there is a part where Winston is talking with a coworker. I don't remember if they work in this. They work in the same like minister, but in like in a different department. Let's say it in that way. He's talking about with that coworker, and the coworker is basically working in the new dictionary, in the new speak dictionary. He says that like this dictionary is not gonna be. They are like in the 12th edition, and it's still in development. They are deleting and changing a lot of words. And he says to Winston that even in their lifetime, they are not going to see that dictionary. That's basically aiming to be released like in 2015 or something like that. So they're aiming like for that sensor to the long run, and that's the part I really enjoyed a lot. That chapter in specific, all that talk that he has with Winston about all speak, new speak, about basically Big Brother and all those things. Um, well, Winston says to himself like the the party is gonna kill this guy. He don't say kill. He says something like um, it's something with born, but I don't remember the expression. He never mentioned like killing this guy is like disintegrating or something like that. But yeah, he mentioned that because the guy that is working in the dictionary is like really, he's a really smart guy actually. He really well spoken and all of that. And as we said before, that's something that this party they doesn't like. They doesn't like you having like a mind, basically being able to express yourself, being able to have a thought. Um, Other thing that I really like is the 2 minutes hate, 2 minutes, the 2 minutes of hate. Basically, what they do is basically hate watch. Goldstein is like the main, like the antagonist to the party. Goldstein is like the betrayer of the BB party. Um, but yeah, that 2 minutes hate is basically hate watching, modern day hate watching. Yeah, and it is mandatory. That's really funny that you have to hate watch someone for 2 minutes a day. So that's something that caught my attention. It is really funny that well, when Winston is narrating this, he expressed like a lot of and not hate, but a lot of feelings. He expressed a lot of feelings in that specific 2 minutes, and also he talks about the people surround him, and they also like express a lot of feelings. So I don't know if they take like at this repression that they have in those two specific minutes, but that's like at the beginning of the book they explain that, and it's a really good like I know that chapter is also really good. Really I enjoy that part. Something that also was funny is that capitalism was before the revelation. Basically, what BB defeated was the capitalism. Um, that was funny, and we still always have that. Well, now like reaching like the end of the chapter, Winston is like mm, looking like for answers towards that to the past. He wants to know about the past. Wisdom at the beginning of the book, he's able to get his hands on a notebook, and he starts writing there. He started writing there about how things are. If I remember correctly, it's because he wants to give like a proper understanding of how things were in that moment to the future. Because he has noticed that everything is manipulated. Everything is manipulated to put the government in a pedestal. So he wants to give like a proper yeah, like a proper text that says how things were truly. Um, yeah, he has his hands in a notebook and he starts writing a lot. Um, he started having this curiosity towards the past, and that's when we come into like to the end of the first part, that he's like in a he's like walking, like he's like in I don't know. I don't remember very well if he was like free that day. I don't know what, but he was basically having a walk. Um, in this part, they explain a lot of how lottery have an impact in people. At least like in, right now in modern day, that's something that happened, that there are people that live for lottery, waiting that jackpot. But in this case, in the case of this book, a lottery, of course, is manipulated and is controlled by the Ministry of Plenty. Well, this part is when this chapter is when I started like taking notes. So I have a lot of more things to say about this. Well, lottery is like administrated by the Ministry of Plenty, and there is people that their whole living is around lottery. They have like business towards lottery, um, selling like Lucky Charms and all of those things. So yeah, that's another example of operation, that how you have people basically with just one purpose of life. Um, well, um, as I said before, wisdom in this chapter, I mean, it's like taking a walk in I don't remember the name, but it's like taking a walk in like a poor neighborhood, like a neighborhood that is of people that not work directly, that not work for the party. So they are seeing like in a different way, and they see wisdom in a different kind of way, because wisdom have the uniform, the blue uniform of the party. And so yeah, there's a lot of back and forth between that, because people see wisdom and they get back, is like, oh, here comes trouble. And as well, we get an explosion here, a person loses an arm, and everything is like and so yeah, really really fucked up in that way. um in this chapter, it is shown, well, this chapter, like, I feel like it wants to portray like that interest that wisdom has for the revolution, because later on in the chapter, he sees an old man, and this like sparks like an interest in wisdom to follow him, and he followed this old man to a bar, and he's able to get like talking with this old man. But this old man is like senile. He is senile, senile. I don't know. He's out of his mind. He don't remember things very well. And the reason that wisdom's like what really hype about this is because seeing like a old person, like 80 plus years old person, is really it's like quite unique. It is strange because the party has basically killed every in the great purges that has happened before. The party has killed like every single person, old person, um, for the things that I was saying before, to basically erase the past and erase every single person that can contradict that past, that the or basically that can fact check the past the party is trying to portray. Well, Winston start with this old man, and basically, well, he is not able to get like anything of value out of him about the revolution. Later on, Winston like leaves this bar, and he, without noticing, he walks toward the shop where he bought the notebook, and he I don't know, he like automatically walked towards her, and in this shop, he have a talk with the owner. Winston like have like quite a weird feeling of nostalgia being in this specific antiquic. I really bad with that word. Like basically all gadgets, all things. It's a shop that sells those things, and Winston have a nostalgia feeling there. And he started like talking with the owner, and ended up like having like a friendship. I don't know. And then we get like the name reveal of the owner, that is Mr. Charrington. And Wisdom bought like a crystal thing, a crystal glass, a crystal like China thing glass. Um, he like insta it for $4 because he likes it so much. I don't know. He feels a lot of nostalgia. So Mr. Charrington basically talked a lot about the past with Wisdom. Wisdom got like really interested, and then the owner of the shop like showed Wisdom like the upstairs, that is where the where Mr. Charrington used to live with his deceased wife. And this place is like with fully furniture, and really like give a link to the past, like really give like Wisdom that nostalgia. And well, then that's the talk in that shop. Then Wisdom leave, and he's on his way to to his basically to his home. On his way to his home, he found like a lady that Wisdom probably in the book has mentioned, that is like this lady that he feels like it is spying on him. Is if you're being a spy, basically they're going to kill you. So Wisdom basically freak out, have like a panic attack. He is not even able to walk to the house. Wisdom have like an ulcer or something like that. So he really feels a lot of pain, and it's such a drama in this part of the chapter, because it's Wisdom basically crashing out and not able to walk to his home, because he is sure that he's gonna get uh, discovered with this like glass that he bought, and also they're basically gonna kill him for committing that crime. um, well, he reached his house. It's like at nighttime, and he's 100% sure that they're going to kill him, because the party basically kills people at night. That's like the usual. The usual. Well, Winston in his, I mean, in that point, he's totally out of his mind. The basically the telescreen. I always confuse the name. Well, that thing that is always watching start showing like a son, or like a speaking of someone, and that's even freak out Wisdom more. Well, that's how that chapter like develops, and then the chapter ends with basically Winston like panicking, seeing like BB face, Big Brother face in his mind, displacing like the face of O'Brien. I don't truly understand that, but well, O'Brien is like the main antagonist. O'Brien or O'Brien. I don't know the pronunciation. Is Brean. Is like the main antagonist. And that's the chapter. It ends with the phrase, like the slogan of the party, that is, "War is peace, freedom is a slavery, and ignorance is a strength." That's a really fucked up slogan. But yeah, that's the first part of the this book that I'm currently reading. If you ask me, I'm enjoying this reading. I haven't had a lot of time. I mean, I only have like a couple of minutes, have like an hour after I finish working, like to read, and sometimes I fall asleep, so I forget a lot of things. That's another reason why I started like writing down notes, because I fall asleep while I'm reading, because I am like tired. But yeah, I'm 100% that I left a lot of things, because as I said before, I only start like taking notes at the final chapter of the first part. All of the things that I said before were out of my mind, like just remember. And I know that right now, even right now, I remember that a lot of things that I left behind. But yeah, this book is basically about being suppressed by the government, and how the government. Well, this part is basically all of that, like the explanation of how this government in 1984 suppressed the people, um, change the narrative in such a way that is like basically impossible to believe that there was another way of living, because this ideology is imposed in you since you are a kid, and we see that portrayed in the coworker of Winston, because those kids, I mean, Winston said something like, "These kids are gonna report his mother to the tow police, and they're gonna kill him. They're gonna kill her." So yeah, the kids are basically totally brainwashed, and the only people that is like with doubts about the past is like people like Winston, for example, that they were like really little when all the revolution happened and all of that, but they have like a glance of what things used to be, and they're like have that like curiosity to find things. That's part one. I would recommend reading this book at this moment. I mean, I am 100 pages in. Yeah, go ahead, read this. I I don't know. I like this version. As I said, this is the classic penguin version, annotated version. Um, yeah, I think I'm gonna leave that there for for the second part. I'm gonna take notes from the beginning, from the first chapter to the end, and I hope I have a better explanation about things. And yeah, I really enjoy doing that. I really enjoy writing down things because I haven't. I mean, the whole purpose of these videos are to improve my English. But yeah, I improving the speaking and the thinking and all of that, but not the writing. So that's another reason why I started like taking notes. And I really enjoyed it. Now that I see my notes, there are a lot of grammar mistakes, but that's out of the topic. We're gonna leave it there. Thank you for watching. Bye bye. See you later.